that you can be tuned in to all my upcoming videos. Hi everyone! Today I'm making a chocolate cake with a twist. Instead of using cocoa powder, I'm using something called chava. It's a superfood. But I want to give you the recipe real quick of the ingredients that go into this chocolate cake. So these are the ingredients that go into this chocolate cake. It is 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 3/4 of a cup of Crisco, that's vegetable shortening, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, 1.25 cups of milk, 3 eggs, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, I'm going to close this up. So this is what I'm using, Bundt pan. And what I did was I used vegetable spray instead of butter. You can do that too. You can use softened butter and smear it all around in there. But with this having the ridges, it's much easier to just spray it. And then what I did was, instead of using flour, which puts flour on the outside of the cake, I used the chava, which is the replacement for the cocoa powder in the recipe. Has protein, has all kinds of minerals and vitamins and everything. It's actually pretty good. In this bowl over here, I have creamed the eggs, the sugar, and the vegetable shortening, and I put in the smaller amount of milk. And now I'm going to do an alternation of the dry and the wet ingredients. You don't have to do this, but many people say it makes the cake rise better. I am going to turn on the mixer, so it's going to be a little bit loud, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to put a little bit of the dry in, and then I'm going to put a little bit of the wet in. And you want to make sure that all the ingredient is incorporated before you add the wet back in. So I already had incorporated the smaller amount of the milk in when I did the creaming. So now I'm adding in, I added 1/3 of what was necessary in the cup. And then I'm alternating with the wet and the dry. So that's what's in here now, and I'm going to mix that in, make sure that it's incorporated, and then I'm going to go back to the dry again. So this is about how much I'm putting in each time when I add in the dry ingredients. Probably about 3/4 of a cup. And I doubled this recipe. So the recipe I gave you was for 1 cake. That's why it looks like so much, because I'm doing 2 cakes. So I'm incorporating another 1/3 of the milk. Approximately, you're just eyeballing it. And then I'm going to make sure that that's incorporated before I add more of the dry. So this is what the cake mix looks like when it's all put together. And I'm getting ready to put it in the Bundt pans. Scraping down the sides. You want to make sure there's nothing left of like powder, sugar, or the flour or whatever. And I'm using, figure out how to get these things out. Yeah, that's pretty simple. Knocking the mix off of the beaters. And that looks really good. I went and got a scooper, dipper, whatever you want to call it, and I'm filling the pans. And I'm only going to fill it about 3/4 of the way, maybe only a half. I'm going to eyeball it again, only because it's going to rise. the baking powder and the baking soda make it rise. So I'm going to do my best at getting it in here and then getting it smoothed out. With that, I'm going to use my spatula. So it's pretty much full. And once I get it smoothed out on the top, what I do is I take the pan, I'm going to do it on my stove top, I get the pan and I bang it. And what that does is, if there's any air bubbles in there, it releases them so that when you bake the cake, it's even and there's no air bubbles in there. So you're not going to cut a piece of cake and have a giant hole in it. I added a little bit more to this pan, and then I add it to this pan, and I'm going to bang this one like I did the other one. Get this out of my hands, I don't spray cake all over the place. And once again, like I said, this eliminates any air bubbles. Now I'm going to get them in the 350 degree oven, and it's about 40 minutes. Usually a Bundt cake takes about that long, but I'm going to go in and test it. You want to put a toothpick down in there to make sure that it is done in the center. And if the toothpick comes out clean, then you're good. I'm going to put this pan underneath because I don't want to do overflowing in my oven, and it may do that. So we'll see you in about 45 minutes. So here's what she looks like out of the oven with some powdered sugar. I couldn't find my chocolate frosting that I thought I had. I must have used it for something else. But all I have to say is I can't wait to try this. I'm going to cut it. Now, mind you, it's still warm, so I might not be able to take a really a big bite of it. So. Look, there it is on the inside. And I'm going to take a little piece. Chocolate cake is one of my favorite things ever. And now that I've made a healthier version, I'm really excited. Delicious. Manja. Make sure that you hit the like button and the notification button so that you can be tuned in to all my upcoming